Hello everybody, welcome to my webinar, and I'm here to talk about clothes, and I'm going to share some of experience that I have with working with clothes and actually sculpting it in Zbrush. So let's just start. Here is actually some of the uh, ideas that we can consider consider them before I start working on the clothes, and we can keep them in our mind and use them while we are sculpting a model, actually a clothes. And uh, let's start with gravity, and I'm going to show you an example of it. These things are actually uh, a few basics which we need to memorize them, and if we watch and study on a few examples, real examples of clothes, we can cook our experience, actually gain more experience, and then it helps us to working on the clothes easily. All right, the first one is gravity, and let me show you an example of gravity for the clothes. And if I move these clouds in exactly in the direction of the gravity, as you can see, it tends to keep everything on the center and try to make folds which they will end up uh, at the center of the gravity. Look at the edges here, which it show us some of the future of the clothes, which we can memorize these actually folds here. And the next thing about gravity that I can say is okay, take a look at this example. Okay, if I draw a line here, and as you can see, the between these 2 points, here is the point that actually gravity caused the uh, caused this shape of the clothes here, and it is actually the center of the pressure for these clothes. It is something like this. And if I add another line, vertical line here, you can see we have one unit here and exactly one unit here. So if I move this, for example, this point here, you can see if I draw this line here and then this line here and then continue it like this, we will have exactly 1 point here and one point here. So when you're sculpting your clothes, you should consider this weight and these centers. For example, you should actually predict the ongoing steps. For example, if I move this point here or somewhere, I don't know, like here, my eyes and my experience, it would tell me the center of the the center of the clothes is here, you know. So keep these simple things in your mind. And uh, gravity can cause some other effect on the clothes too, which I will tell you about them. Let's talk about the next item, which we can call them tension and compression, which tension actually uh, is these two points, which let me show you. Yep, yeah, yeah, the simple real example which you can study a lot on this piece. These two point is the tension, and the gravity push the other part of the clothes and actually push down, and then by falling down these surfaces you can see these wrinkles. Let me show you another example of tensions, which we can see. You can see it here. All right, there's the crop tool. Okay. This point here is a tension, and the wrinkle comes from it. And here we have another tension here, which causes some folds here. The other example of it, I can say this point here, which it causes some uh, folds, and you know, usually on the knee or on the elbow we have this tension, you know, this point here, you know. And actually if we talk about the knee, for example, here, when okay, when we have a tension here at this point, usually we have a compression here, you know. So exactly, we should expect this on the elbow, you know. So this is a tension and compression. Also, sometimes we can see the compression here. Let me show you another example. Here at the edge of the boot, and the reason of this is the actually gravity. Gravity cause this compression. And for example, here on the back of the character, if look at these wrinkles here, actually the reason is the gravity and the plane, actually the imaginary plane, which is here, and both of these actually add a pressure to this center and cause the compression. So if you study some example, real example, and search them actually on the internet, uh, usually uh, the wrinkles are on these places, you know. uh, okay, let's go and talk about the next uh, item, a spacing of the folds, and or we can say buckling. Um, okay. Um, from this point, when uh, a piece of fabric falls down, according to the material that it has, uh, it may make some spaces bigger or smaller when it drops. As you can see, this space is going to be bigger than before. And I call this actually spacing folds. And sometimes we have something which is here, these points, and actually they are cutting these spaces. As you can see, suddenly uh, you know, it's something like it shrinks. So these are some of the uh, points that you can keep in your mind and add it when you're sculpting a model. And again, according to the material that belongs to the fabric, uh, these shapes are different. For example, let me show you. I find a nice image on the internet. Actually, this is a uh, video on the YouTube about the clothes and fold anatomy for 3D artists. Search it and watching it. Uh, and Laura Gallagher has explained nice uh, information about the clothes. And here you can see this buckling. And for example, when we go to the left side and we go to the leather material, uh, usually you cannot this buckling points. But when we go to the right side, something like polyester, you see these hard edges, and it is nice to understanding these forms. Okay, all right, and the next item is cloth structure. So I'm sure you have seen this before if you had a small search on the internet. Uh, uh, I take I took these images from this book, which if you need to upgrade your information, uh, actually push yourself to the next level of the artistic uh, study, you can get this book, The Artist's Guide to Drawing the Clothes. You can find a lot of amazing information, fabric. All right. Okay. This shape here, which it comes from the actually a, a vertical and vertical lines and the horizontal line of the fabric. Uh, it makes a shape which uh, this is the shape that you can see it, and there are actually high distance and the negative distance of the folds. And if you keep this form in your mind, you should be fine with it. And actually you can sculpt every most of the colors with this, but keep that in your mind when you don't have, uh, for example, a shape which can cause these uh, forms on the clothes like these. When you don't have these complex, for example, shapes like this cylinder here, uh, these shapes should be like this, you know, very long actually, something like this. Okay, so keep this image in your mind, and usually between two tension point, we should expect this uh, folds that actually these folds is kind of these shapes, you know, content of kind of these shapes. And this is a very basic structure of the clothes, and it works uh, good when you are sculpting a model. Let's go see some real example, and let's find some of these shapes here. As you can see here, here you can see a nice example of these shapes in reality. And also you can see these things here. You can see the, for example, buckling here, you know, and also the other information that you can see is the tension that I mentioned before, and that's it. Okay, let's take a look at the next item, which I can call this internal resistance, which actually every piece of clothes, it has a resistance actually, and for example, when we uh, we take this point here, you can see the gravity, which is actually like this, completely in a vertical line. You can see clothes are moving here and here, and actually because it is of the reason is the resistance of the clothes, you know. And another example here, if you see these uh, clothes here at these edges of the table, and we have these forms which it ends with these shapes. Actually, uh, there's a pressure which is here and cause these shapes, and uh, this pressure is the actually it's kind of is the internal resistance of the clothes. And keep this in your mind when you're sculpting a clothes. The folds are affecting on each other. For example, this is a good example of it, which you can see this form. So don't forget these big forms, big wrinkles, which the layer on the clothes are making it on each other. The next item is loops, which here is the example of loops, which you can see loops when actually two tension points are close to each other or they are affecting on each other, and this line is a loop. And let's find and see another example. Um, For example, here we have a loop. There's a point here and another point here, and it is a tension point here, and then we have gravity and tension. It's something like a tension, and here is a loop. You know, these wrinkles here. Let's talk it. Let's talk it a loop here and keep this in your mind. By this information that I told you, we can start sculpting the clothes. So uh, for conclusion, let's take a look on this piece and actually going to see what we are talking about. So gravity was the reason of some effects. For example, was the reason of these shapes actually, and here we have a tension here, which some part of it comes from the gravity actually, which caused this main big folds here. The tension and compression. Here's the compression, and these two structure here is a compression. We have this structure of the clothes here, which it comes from the compression. Spacing of the folds, which is these big shapes on the uh, fabrics, and buckling are these small actually, keen shapes on the fabrics, and the cloth structure, which is here, and the internal resistance is this fold, and the loops is a line actually between the 2 points. And let's add other things to it. If you can see, there are some small folds here, which the reason of these small curves is a memory of the pressure or some other act which is added on the fabric. So this small uh, wrinkle here, let's add them here. I don't know. Um, and you can add them by alphas on the clothes. These steps, we need them to make amazing clothes. Okay, and one more thing which we need to train ourselves by that is uh, first we need to sculpt a cloth from a reference, which I'm going to show you how to start it, how to finish it. And after that we need to sculpt a cloth by our actually memory. So first, if you are if you are an art student, you need to sculpt, I don't know, 10, 20 model with clothes from a reference to gain some experience, and after that you can start sculpting in your mind, actually with your mind. So let's open up the Zbrush and start working on it. Alright, let me put the reference here and fix the position, and I'm going to draw some information here. I usually start with finding the silhouette actually, and this is my silhouette, and as you can see, there are some angles which is important for this kind of shape here. And also, while I'm working on it, constantly I check these spaces, you know, like 1 point, 1 point, and 1 point. They are the same, and I check it with my eyes when I'm trying to find the main forms actually. Okay, um, I start with the plane. Let's drag it here, and let me restore my UI. All right. Okay, and the basic material. Okay, by pressing the P, I change my viewport to perspective view. Okay, it is good to start. I can start from this point, or I think it is better if I scale down it like this, and now I can start moving by move brush. I move it like this. Okay, just to find the silhouette, because I have a lot of edge loops on my mesh. It is better to move this area by masking and transform tool. By pressing down the control, I draw a mask, and then W key to activate the transform tool, and then by W and by pressing down the alt and clicking on the angle that I want, like this, I move the transpose tool here and then rotate it. Okay, it is the clean rotation here. Okay, I can keep moving the surface. Okay, and uh, sometimes you can put the image under the ZBrush, and it helps you to find the silhouette very fast. Yeah, you don't need to analyze it by your eyes. I put this image here and then increase the see-through. Okay, now I can find the silhouette faster. I usually try to find actually the shapes and silhouettes by my eyes to train actually myself. But sometimes, which I really want the exact proportion, I do this, or sometimes I want to be fast to find the silhouette. I do this way, and it's a good way to start the basic forms. Okay, let me check it, and from this angle to see everything is fine. Okay. Okay, and now it is time to find these main shapes here. I just trying to analyze the big forms. These V shapes, V shapes here. Okay, these are some of the main shapes that I could extract it. First, I try to draw them on the surface, by a damn standard brush. From here I can draw it like this, and I constantly check the spaces and the proportions by my eyes, so it shouldn't be straight, it needs a bit arc on the curve. All right, the next one is here, and this one should be here. For example, here I assume that if it is 1 point of proportion, this one should be 1.3, and then I scale up my brush, my diamond standard brush, and by pressing the Alt key, I add a negative effect. Okay, and then this area. Also, I need another fold here according to the reference that I'm watching it a lot right now. And uh, this recording video, it is not the thing that I had any experience of sculpting this piece. This is the one. I recording it once and I'm working on it once. Without any experience on sculpting this piece. Okay, by moving um, and uh, rotate the angle of the camera, I try to analyze the volume of the fabric. Sometimes I use clay buildup to fill some surfaces, and then by edge polish, clean the surface a bit, and then again by dam standard. From this angle, you can see some of the wrong movement on the edges, so I smooth them and move them by move brush, and then by shift, trying to clean it. Here I need to add more space. Okay, don't worry about the bumpy surface right now. We can smooth it and clean it later. I just trying to find the main shapes, as I mentioned it before. uh, on the edges here, I need to have a clean edge, clean and sharp edge. Let's move it here and a bit here. It is a fold here, and I would to work on these edges a lot to find the appropriate folding shape for the clothes. Also here, by lasso masking and then moving. On the top here, I need some small move. Okay, I smooth it, and let's work on these edges, which you can see it in the silhouette, actually on the silhouette. So move it up like this, and then here I need to add another fold here. I can add it by masking or by sculpting. It doesn't matter what you are doing, what in actually uh, the weight is not important, just the result is important. So I move it. It is a bit narrow right now. I should move the surface from left to and right to make it a bit wide, and then reverse the masking and find the silhouette. Okay, I'm checking some of the positive and negative spaces on the main shapes, because these main shapes is really important, because uh, other the detail, the secondary shape is, tertiary shape is, whatever you're going to add, they it will they will be added on this main shape. So it is better to think about the main shape and sculpt it in the correct way. And these edges here, it can be important because the tensions, happened here. So uh, later I will add some appropriate folds here. As you can see, the shape is of the shape of the fabric here. It is a bit tricky. You need to rotate the edges here. I'm masking it here and then trying to move it here, or I can also by transform tool rotate it like this and then move it a bit. Okay, let me turn on the double surface view. I added here on my actually UI. Okay, and these edges, the smooth brush won't work on the edges. I need to turn on an option, but right now by moving by move brush, I will find this. Actually, I will keep these edges in the correct position. Okay, and here I need a fold, so I try to sculpting it. Okay, by damage standard, push the edges. By clay brush or standard brush, I can add some fold. Okay, adding some fold shapes here, and here is the face. I should move it. Let me check it with move topology brush, which it does not work here. Okay, we have to um, change an option for moving brush, for move brush. Here is the depth, or where are you? On the under the it is under the um, here a smooth brush modifier. I changed the minimum connected to 1. Let me press the shift and then change it again. Now all the edges, as you can see, I can smooth them, but it is a bit tricky, when you press the shift and smooth your edges, it acts a lot. You can decrease the Z intensity uh, to keep more control on the smooth on the edges. Actually, okay. I keep watching my reference while I'm sculpting a lot. You know, every piece I'm going to sculpt it, I take a look at my reference to make sure I'm doing it right. And that's it. Okay. Okay, let me check the mesh from here. I should rotate, hold the mesh and make it straight like this. All right. Some small move here, moves here. Okay, I'm checking it with my reference. Let me check it more. Okay. and going to add this small fold here by dam standards. Okay, I'm analyzing my movement, with my eyes, and finding the brush size actually, and checking the shapes constantly. Okay, it should be something like this. All right. Okay, let me show you something here which is important. The shapes here, I think it should be uh, something like this, and I should push this area a bit more. I'm not sure if it is correct or not because I don't have uh, any reference from the side view. I try to add it to make it with my imagination. I add another sub D on this model by pressing Ctrl D, and then going to add more detail on the cloth. I'm checking the edges, checking the proportions. All right. Somehow I'm talking with myself, and yeah, I check it. Okay. I think I can make it a bit clean by this clay polish. I'm pressing it a few times to see how it works on the model. I think I need to keep edges masked. I go to masking by pressing the mask by features. I keep the edges actually masked and then press clay polish. Okay, let me clean the mask and see. Okay, not bad. I have a clean mesh here right now. Uh, it made some of our shapes in the wrong way, but not bad. As a general thing, as a whole, it is not bad. And let me check the reference. Okay, now we can add the actually to exaggerate uh, the folds again to find the better model, better folds by a standard brush, or sometimes I use inflate brush. And this time I still in the blocking out steps. This is not the final step of working on this fabric. I am still trying to make sure all the folds shapes are correct. But as long as we have lost some of these shapes, these rounded shapes, so I'm going to add them. Okay, here I exaggerate the line here. As you can see, uh, there is a space here, a flatted shape here. You know, it is because of the resistance of the clothes. Actually the dynamic that clothes they have on each other. It is because of the layering and also because of the type of the material of the clothes. You know, uh, so I'm trying to find it. Okay, by inflate brush, and make rounded some of these edges. Keep this in your mind, trying to not make your mesh uh, bumpy, you know. Okay, add some volume here. Okay, to make it more believable. Okay, smooth the edges here. I need to add some rounded edges here by a standard brush. Okay, you know, I use edge polish brush to this area. It's a bit tricky, you know. It shouldn't be round. It can be a bit hard, you know, because of the this is the angle and the end of the unfold, you know, and the material here is a bit hard. Okay, all right, let me exaggerate these edges here. Okay, I analyze some of these edges by the shadow that I'm watching the reference. You know, there are some shadow, and I extract some information from the shadow. Okay, I need to keep edges safe and then smooth this area. All right. Okay, we are closing to the main shape of the reference right now. It can be better if I uh, want to work on it more, but since I'm recording it, I just wanted to have an informative video for you. So I just trying to keep it 70%, 8% close to our reference. All right, here by polishing the mesh a few times, I would like to see how the polish features uh, works on our model. Let me keep the edges. I go to the low subdivisions and trying to see the polish. Okay, the polish is work well here, but we will lose some information. Yeah, I try to keep. Actually, I add some clay polish on the model. As you can see, this model, you know, it is not a lot bumpy right now. You know, okay. As you can see, by adding a few times polishing and clay polish, I decrease the bumpy shapes on the surface. And I'm going to add and one more time the most important details on the clothes here, and actually try to put an special effort to make them again this time. You know, there are a flat shape here. I think by masking I can find it. I can make it actually. Maybe smooth the masking, moving brush, you know, because uh, as I mentioned before, this is the first time I'm working on this model and I haven't an experience. So you can see how I try to find the shapes, you know. Maybe it does not work and I have to uh, do the control Z like that, you know. And maybe by an, you know, but by an damn standard here. Yep, I think it works here. Damage standard here, and then a little bit far away from the main shape. I can, okay, all right. As you can see, sometimes I decrease the my brush size. Sometimes I increase it in order to find the shapes. All right. Maybe pinch helps me here. I would like to make these folds close to each other. First, I need to inflate them, or actually exaggerate them. Some more sculpting here. All right. Okay. From this side, I should add some better curve in order to make it more real. The weight of the fabric should be correct. Okay, I'm checking the wireframes and thinking about how I can make it more clean. All right. Okay, something is bothering me here right now, and I'm thinking how I can fix it. Um, Let me fix these small shapes here. I'm trying to make my model close to the reference as much as I can. Here, I need a space here. According to my reference, I lost a shape here, so I'm sculpting the shape. Okay, we need a space here. By edge polish, I can make it. All right. Let me fix here. Something is wrong here. Oh, it is masked. Okay, let me delete the masking and then fix the problem. Yeah, I need some shapes like this here. All right. Okay, everything is okay, but when you see it from this distance, you can see the bumpy surface, and it is bothering me right now. You know. So let me show you here, and okay, from this angle, you can see the bumpy surfaces. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay. You know, this surface, this here, here. these things are not correct. We should fix them. Yep. All right. Let's take a snapshot of these clothes here, and and here I'm going to work on this piece and see the result. I'm going to fix these bumpy shapes, and all right. Okay. Uh, First, what I'm going to do is um, let's mask the edges. I go to the lower subdivision and mask it, or here in the higher subdivision is okay too. A few times I polish it, then I press clay polish a few times, okay, and then polish it. Okay, keep the edges and then polish it. I go to the lower subdivision and then polish this again. I can move some of these edges by hand, and also sculpting this area. Okay, the overall look, as you can see, these meshes, this fabric is more clean, and it is better to work on this piece right now. I decreased the Z intensity for a standard brush and also add some more lazy radius because this sculpting here is going to be my final sculpting, so it is important to have a clean sculpting. So I increase the lazy mouth radius for each brush that I'm going to work with. Also decrease the Z intensity. I want to have a less effect, but clean effect on the surface. As you can see, I draw, or I draw a few times to find the mesh, to find actually the correct volume. Here, it is something that I think it shouldn't be like this. This corner, this angle, it should be like this. It, this arc here, I think it's better. So I can by a standard brush and pressing down the Alt key, I can make this feel. Okay, so all of my brushes now are in the something between 5 to 10 Z intensity, and also they have more lazy radius, which helps me to keep away from wrong movement while I'm sculpting. And here, let me show you something. This is important to analyze these a few small uh, shapes and volume and extract them from the reference. I should exaggerate them here like this. Actually, I should find them and then make them here, apply them here. Maybe I can add it by edge polish here. You should train yourself by practice on these small or simple shapes. Trust me, it helps you a lot. Training your eyes. You don't need a complex shape. This is this green fabric has a lot of information in it. Okay. Yeah, from the side angle, I need to push it more by a standard brush, and then going to the lower subdivision helps you to keep your surface safe from the bumpy effect sometimes actually. Okay, as you can see, I keep smoothing my sculpting a lot, you know, a few times at least, to keep my model safe. Okay, and some sculpting on this fold here. Yeah, as you can see, the right, the model on the right, it is going to be ready for sculpting the final detail. You know, you can see the differences. You know, the left one is bumpy and not good, but the right one is going to be in the right way. Yep, adding some fold by inflate brush. I decrease the intensity. Okay, and yep, you're fine. I need maybe some movement, some inflate brush. According to the reference, I extract this information. Okay, and I need to tweak the silhouette too. You know, the edges are bumpy, you know, on the silhouette. Um, just let me uh, work on these areas. This pinch brush here helps me to make the tension more realistic, you know. Smoothing it. Okay, by masking this area and then reverse the masking and move to. But I press the Alt key. It gives me uh, some option to move the uh, actually to fix the correct angle for the scale. Okay, just a few steps to the final mesh, and all right, just some small movement here, and we are solid right now, and the model is ready for the final touches. And okay, now now we can add some of the information I said in the at the first of these movies. If you compare these two models, you can see how much the right model is clean. And now I'm going to add the final details on the model. Okay, I'm going to add the buckling effect on the model by move brush. As you can see here, we have some buckling effect. And by default, the effect of the move brush is rounded. But if I turn on this accurate curve, we can see the sharp edge for move brush. So I move it like this, and very simple. I'm able now to make this buckling effect here. If you try with this on the complex shapes of the clothes, you can make it an amazing effect. Okay, I'm analyze the concept and find the places to add this buckling. Let me smooth them a bit. Okay, and the next thing I can add this structure, as I said before. We have the structure and we have this uh, triangle shaped structure on the model. I add them like this by damage standard, pulling and pushing the surface. First, I'm going to find this shape here on the model. There is a connection between each of these triangle, and then I smooth it. And if I sometimes they are hard, sometimes no. Randomly, I add them on the surface, but I try to find a reason to add them. Here, for example, close to this buckle, we have this shape, and maybe a few of them next to it. All right, and then smooth the shapes. Okay, we have some hard edges here, and then smooth them. Okay, here we have some hard edges. Okay. Okay, here I would like to exaggerate it more. All right. Uh, we can add some of this structure here. So simple. Okay, and the next thing I would like to add is this memory folds, and yeah, by diamond standard you can add it. Also, you can make alpha for these things. You can find, if you search on the internet, there are a lot of alphas for the clothes that I actually use them, but right now it is enough for us, to add them here. It works for me by adding them by diamond standard and then I smooth it. As you can see, I press Alt. I add two lines for this memory faults. One with the negative damage standard and one with the positive damage standard. And here for this wrinkle, I need to add um, these memory faults, which some part of it isn't the memory. Actually, it is a wrinkle on it. Okay. By this simple detail, as you can see, our clothes, our fabric here, the look is getting natural right now. Okay. Maybe I can clean these edges, add a better look for them. Yep, that's it. I think it is good enough for us, and yeah, just keep watching the reference and add the better detail. And I sculpt this model for something around 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and it is not bad right now. All right. Thank you for watching this, and I wish the best for you. Good luck.